Hey guys, today we are changing the transmission filters and fluid. We're just doing a pan drop change, so it'll get about half of the fluid out by doing the pan instead of doing a flush. I don't really like flushes, so I don't like to do flushes because things sometimes go through passages the wrong way. And this gets most of the fluid out. If you really are patient and you've got a place that's not dusty, you can leave your transmission pan off for a long time and it'll continue to drain. All right, so this is a 14 Ram 2500 with a 6.7 liter diesel, and it has the 6.8 RFE transmission. And here is the OEM flat filter and the spin-on filter they're both under the pan. All right, so whenever we do this, big fan of Amsoil as you see here, but when we go back with the filters, we're going to go back with the OEM filters. The way the transmissions work and with pressure, and you just don't want to chance using an aftermarket filter, so you want to go back with the OEM filters. So as you can see, I've got the new ones there. This is what the old ones look like. The new ones look identical. And we're going back with this Amsoil, and I really like this new stuff in this Easy Pack. Alright, and this is rated for your Chrysler. You can see right here, it's got your ATF plus 4, which is exactly what you want in this transmission. So we're going to go back with probably 8 to 12 of these quarts. I'm going to be using these Easy Packs, but you can certainly use a funnel and pour this in also. The hardest part about this whole thing is once you take these 15 8mm bolts loose, the transmission pan is probably going to be hanging on. And when it does break loose, and you don't want to use anything like a flathead screwdriver because you can scar your mating surface of your transmission or dent your pan or something. So when that does come loose, you're going to probably make a huge mess like I've made here today. So you're going to have 15 of these 8mm, and those go in your pan. And then in your transmission filter, you are going to have a T25, a Torx bit that's going to hold it goes right here, so just a T25 to take that out. And a Gorilla probably put the spin-on filter on, so we had to use this. It's a smaller filter, so we used this, I don't know, it's from Motive Tools, it's universal. It's 2.5 to 3.25. It was almost too big, so I kind of had to squeeze the jaws of it in and hold it as I turned it, and it caught, and it turned it and broke loose pretty easy, but I could not get that loose by hand. So what I was getting to is the hardest part of this whole job is probably cleaning off the surface of your transmission pan. So all of this old RTV that is here, you're gonna want to get all of that off. You might not be able to tell it, but I'm actually using, this is actually a brass wire wheel. And I won't use anything like that on the actual transmission surface. In fact, all I used was one of these shop towels, one of these red rags, and rubbed the surface of the transmission, and all of that came loose. But on my pan here, you want to get all of this off, and it's the same color. It's black, so it's the same color. You can see there where it's still there, and over here where I've taken most of it off already. But I'll get that 100% spotless. That's going to be the longest portion of your job. Oh, and then there is a magnet where I clean that up, but the magnet goes back down in here. Not right there, it goes over here. Ready to clean that up. I'll clean it up some more later. And then going back, of course, with the Mopar RTV, this is the one that's specific for the, so you can see the part number there. This is the one that's specific for the transmission pan. So anyway, once I get everything back on, I'll put the RTV back on this pan. Once this is all cleaned up, I go inside and outside of the holes and make sure to get down in these grooves. And I'll run a bead all the way around there, and then I'll put it back once I put the filters in. And by the way, I'm not changing. It comes with a new O-ring. That is a pain. If you ask any transmission specialist, they'll tell you if the one on there is not cut or it doesn't come off, to leave it alone. So that's what we're going to do. Even though the new one does come with an O-ring, we're not going to put that on. So once I get this all cleaned up and I get the RTV and I get the new filters on, we'll stick this back up on the bottom of the transmission, and I'll go ahead and torque everything down. And I'm going to let that set probably an hour or two before I pour any new fluid back in the transmission. As I'm cleaning this up, the transmission is still draining, so the longer I leave it off, the more fluid's going to come out. I'm not actually worried about getting every little drop out. The more I get out and the more fresh fluid can go back in, that's great. But I'm doing this change right at 60,000 miles, which is at severe service. I'm doing a lot of towing and a lot of four-wheel drive and a lot of off-road, so because of that, I wanted to go ahead and get that done. So if you got any questions, just ask. Hope this helps someone out. And again, I recommend the AMSOIL. All right, thanks for watching.